Hello, welcome back to Money Talks. In case you're new here, my name's Ian. Guys, I want to go over exactly how much it costs to live in New York. Everyone thinks it's so expensive. It's really not. Everyone thinks you need $150,000 of income to live comfortably in New York. You really don't need that level of income. So what I've gone and done is I've broken down my budget from January through February. And the reason I did that was because in March, halfway through March, I actually escaped and came down to Atlanta, and I'm staying at my girlfriend's house for the time being. So I chose January and February to look at, and it's really not that bad. I just basically collected all of my debit and credit card charges and then put them into one big Excel sheet. It's about 200 transactions long, and most of my transactions occur with plastic, so very little of it is from cash. So this accounts for pretty much 99% of my expenses. So let's just dig into this. So as you can see, here's the overall expense. So I have it broken down based on business expense, food, fun, health and wellness, housing, miscellaneous expenses, reimbursable business expenses. Those are business expenses related to my job that I get reimbursed. And then shopping, stuff like Amazon or actually shopping at a brick and mortar store. And then travel. If you have any specific questions about my budget, I'd love to hear from you. Go down in the comments, leave your question, I'll respond to it. So as you can see here, I have a business expense of $450. That's just for my side hustle. Most people won't actually have that expense. And then food is a big chunk right there. It's $1,600 or $1,700. Pretty good about buying groceries. $400 goes to groceries. And then, in total, my grocery expense is almost $800 between groceries and grocery delivery. And then I tried out a few meal kits in January and February, so that's included in there. And then $800 for restaurants. So in total, I'm spending $1,600 a month on food. I just realized this chart is a little confusing. So this chart is representative of spending for 2 months. So all the numbers you see on here is for 2 months of spending. So if you want to look at it from a perspective of 1 month, you would just divide all these numbers by 2. And I have a chart that I show later in this video that does show it month by month. So I'm about to say $50 a day for food here. It's actually about $25 per day for food. It's about $50 a day. So that's pretty reasonable. Mind you, I live in lower Manhattan. Everything is really expensive there. So that's lower Manhattan food prices. So it's manageable. The next section is fun right here. You can see going to bars is almost $300, and then other miscellaneous entertainment is $200. That's like going to concerts and music venues primarily. And then health and wellness, medical expenses. This was, I think that was some sort of blood test right here. But I mean, that's pretty average for me, $40 a month on average. And then on top of that, I have supplements. I spend quite a bit of money on supplements there. And then, so remember, this is over 2 months. So my housing expense was $3,400 over 2 months. It's $1,700 a month. I live in a flex room with one of my friends in lower Manhattan. So that $1,700 goes to paying for the room and basically splitting or almost splitting the rent with him. The apartment, I believe, is $4,000 or $4,500 per month in total. Go watch my video about housing costs in New York. I have a video tour of my apartment just showing what you can get with $1,700 a month in lower Manhattan. Miscellaneous is a lot of random stuff. We have fraternity alumni dues. I'm part of the Fraternity Alumni Association. That's only once a year, so that really shouldn't even be included on the budget. Cell phone, $216 a month. My mom and grandmother are on my cell phone plan, so that's why that's so expensive. Laundry, I do coin laundry. Actually, I just swipe my card at the machine. So that's $36 a month. I wash my whites and colors separately. I also dry any delicate fabrics separately. So that's why that seems a little high. I'm not actually getting any dry cleaning done. That's just all from using coin laundry. And then the next thing on the miscellaneous list is media. So that's Netflix, Apple Music, SoundCloud, random things like that. And then I also have a storage unit in Atlanta that has most of my stuff in it. And, you know, again, most of this storage unit, most people aren't going to have that. So again, this might look like a lot, but it's really not once you take out all the stuff that most people aren't actually going to have to pay for. The next thing is reimbursable business expenses. So these are business expenses that I get reimbursed for. Also, this shouldn't be included on this list at all, but I'm just adding a little buffer in. And then the next thing is $600 for shopping. Got half of that going to Amazon. And then I got random hobbies and other shopping for clothes at brick and mortar stores. I usually go to Target or TJ Maxx. They have a TJ Maxx really close to me in Lower Manhattan. And then the final item is travel, which covers anything from air travel to gas to taxis to parking and ride share. So in total, I'm spending $8,600 over the course of 2 months. Remember, this is 2 months of expenses. So what I've done now is I've divided it up I divided it in two to give you a monthly expense. So the grand total is $4,300 a month expenses in New York. Totally doable. If you make $50,000 or slightly over $50,000 after taxes, you'll be very comfortable in New York. That equates to about $60,000, $65,000 before taxes. It's very feasible to live in New York for $65,000. So if you're thinking about it, if you have an offer in New York, not sure if you should take it, if the pay is good enough, consider this and then see what you think about it. Because I really think if you're making over $65,000, you'll be comfortable in New York, especially if you're living with someone else and you're not going out every night. Also want to remind you that a lot of my savings and expenses are deducted pre-tax. So this grand total, this $4,300, doesn't include a lot of savings and other pre-tax items like healthcare and my health savings account and my 401k. As you can see, housing is the vast majority of my expense in New York. Out of all my expenses, housing makes up 40%, food makes up 20%, and then the next biggest category is miscellaneous. That's just kind of a catch-all. So in summary, you don't need $150,000 to be comfortable in New York. You need at least 65. I'd say 75 is a good buffer for comfort in New York. If you want to live alone, you might have to up it to 80 or 90,000. Make sure to go watch my video on housing costs in New York. It's right up here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you got some good value out of it. If you did, go down, hit subscribe. If you have any questions about my budget or how I spend my money in New York, make sure to go down and leave a comment. I answer every question or comment you leave me. So I can't wait to hear from you. Also, don't forget to check out my Millennial Money segment with Anna Palm, who makes $63,000 a year in New York City and is doing just fine on a resident doctor's salary. I forgot to include my AirPods expenses. Oh, I can never put these on, right? I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to go down and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.